Hello everybody, Andrew Casey at Hypersanity Books. Today we'll be doing a case study to the character Giselle from the Enchanted movie. With this type of analysing, it is just bringing it back to writing. There will be a lot of subject matter in the characterisation. You can learn a lot from these videos. I'm just starting off with basic information as the information gets more complicated, and this will help with your writing. Otherwise, let's get into it. Number 10. Born Sexy Yesterday and Disney Tropes.
And you are?
Giselle.
Oh, Giselle! We shall be married in the morning.
Born Sexy Yesterday, just to clarify, it's usually where a character is naive, they're not intelligent, but they're one of the cutest things that you've ever seen. This made the character really flawed, and I normally don't like this type of character because they're two-dimensional, or as we say in writing terms, they're flat characters, not round characters. In this case, it's a case study because of how the character develops through the narrative. Number 9. Writing perspective. If I was to write this into a book, I would write the Giselle character in the first person perspective, though I would write it as an unreliable perspective to the level of her intelligence, so the story is still easy for the reader to follow, not unreliable as in a source of mental health. From the supporting character or the deuteragonist, Robert, I would write that from the person objective perspective because of how he gets his point across, because he is a cynical character. With the other supporting character being Edward, I would write him as the third person limited perspective because of the limited level of intelligence he has entering into a new world.
The water comes from the pipes.
Where do the pipes get it?
I don't know. From wherever the pipes get it.
Number 8. Antagonist with no redeemable qualities.
Daniel, don't you see, my darling, if there's ever going to be a happily ever after for us.
I never saw this, but Susan Sarandon plays the part of Queen Nerissa. My son saw the movie once and could tell who it was. I have seen the movie about 10 times and I could not make that connection. With the antagonist, she operates in manipulating the story. With Nathaniel, he is always torn to make her happy, even to the point of doing a lot of evil.
Ooh, it looks yummy.
Yeah, be careful. It's poisonous.
You're joking.
Yeah.
She has no redeemable qualities. If I was to write a character like this to make the story stronger or more engaging, I would actually draw inspiration from the Mother Gothel character.
Did I mumble, Mother? Or should I even call you that?
Because of the way the character operates and manipulates people, the way she also uses gaslighting to keep people under her control, I think there's a potential there. But that's what I would do to write that type of character. Though this character worked extremely well with no redeemable qualities. Number 7. Light in a dark place. The Giselle character is going through a lot of drastic change to location, to somewhere she's never been before. So the story goes from the animated into the real world. So the character starts to go through that transition of being in crisis. So to find someone be nice allows her to have some trust instantly. And I know instant romances don't normally go well for storytelling. In this sort of case, it's not an instant romance because she's acknowledged that he has a relationship.
She is a seriously confused woman who's fallen into our laps.
So we're not going to let her stay?
No.
In the dark place, someone is caring for her to some extent, even though he is cynical.
But dreams do come true. And maybe something wonderful will happen.
Yeah, well, I forgot who I was talking to.
He is setting boundaries.
I'll get you to a bus, a train, a plane, wherever, and then that's it. I can't get involved after that.
Angry?
Yes, it's an unpleasant emotion. Have you ever heard of it?
Oh, I have heard of it.
Look, you have created a completely unnecessary problem with Nancy that I now have to resolve. A proposal, actually.
Oh!
Well, now she's got it in her mind that you and I...
Kissed?
Yeah, something like that.
When they have certain scenes, you can see there's a difference on how she sees the world and how he sees the world, from an unreliable perspective and a reliable perspective. Number 6, comparing characters.
I've been dreaming of a true love's kiss.
He sings too.
Well, I'm not letting you have it.
Forget it, BB. Hank is coming with me.
Hey, wait a minute. Hey, excuse me, guys. I'm getting confused here. Who's Hank?
His 1954 rookie card.
A baseball card? That's what this gets down to, is a baseball card.
Longer live.
What would you do if you couldn't blame
I have to pick up my
everything
daughter.
on
Can we
me?
do this in the morning around 9 o'clock?
A long, happy life.
9 sounds
Let me
good.
think
Great,
about
okay,
it.
9. I'll see you then.
Now, to get the worst out of the way, Giselle is compared to the Morgan character being a child, for the mentality of being a child. Now, this is appealing to the younger audience.
And when you go out, you don't want to wear too much makeup, because otherwise the boys get the wrong idea. They're only after one thing.
What's that?
I don't know. Nobody will tell me.
Comparisons are extremely effective with writing and character development, especially in this case how Giselle and Robert develop a friendship and a relationship over time. Number 5, seen as the protagonist.
Hey, buddy! Silence! Guys, I got it.
Poor chipmunk. Speechless in my presence.
The Edward character sees himself as the protagonist, and I love this aspect because it is appealing to the child audience, it is appealing to the adult audience.
My love song. Yes, somewhere there's a maid I've never met.
What's wrong?
You're not singing.
Oh. I'm not. I was thinking.
Thinking?
Before we leave, there's one thing I would love to do. I want to go on a date.
A date? What's a date?
Number 4, seen as the deuteragonist.
Take these flowers to Nancy, please.
What are you, crazy? They're birds. They don't know where she lives.
Giselle, from her perspective, it's her story, though compared to Prince Edward, she sees herself as the deuteragonist. She sees herself to Robert as the deuteragonist, following his lead with the story. Now, Robert is the deuteragonist in this story. He is the love interest.
Oh, about a day.
You mean it feels like a day because you're so in love?
No, it's been a day.
One day.
Yes. And tomorrow will be 2 days.
You're joking.
What about you? How long have you known your Nancy?
It's 5 years. Yeah.
How does she know that you love her?
Oh!
He knows the song too?
How do you show her you love her?
Number 3, moment of character development.
You know, if it did work out and you decided to stay in New York, I'd like to help. I deal with this every day. If a relationship has issues at the beginning, it doesn't get any better.
No?
No.
Is that the only word that you know? No?
No.
Every word out of your mouth is no. It makes me so angry. I'm wonderful. Fit as a fiddle.
She is experiencing anger for the first time. There is a little bit of a mix of different emotions in there, but this is the first time she's feeling from a flat character to a round character. Within a case study, I'm not saying that she has to be articulate, brilliant, whatever. The character is developing through the story. And within that particular moment, being tested and challenged by Robert all the time to hearing what he was saying, she has suddenly changed. So when she does reunite with Prince Edward, there is a difference between the two characters, and this type of storytelling is effective because you can see that in her own way, she has slightly outgrown Prince Edward. Now, she's not a bad person, he's not a bad person. I'm not saying that the characters have bad intentions. They have good intentions, these characters do. It's just the character development has taken to a new level. And I'm not saying she's a vain person outgrowing him. She's just starting to see life in a different, more realistic way, though she still has some childish traits.
I think you need to take her aside and find out how she really feels about you.
Hello, worthless.
Number 2, rising action, climactic moment.
Mind if I cut in? You sent me here.
To never be with the one you love, doomed to be with another. Yes, I can make all those bad memories disappear.
With the character development, she is being tested to something beyond what she's capable of. The character may have grown, though her feelings towards Robert have become quite strong. She's also struggling with that feeling because of the relationship that he's in. Now, in this story, and I want to say this, they handle this subject matter quite well for a family audience, because there is a lot of different problems in the real world with divorce, separation, co-parenting, etc. With this situation, they handled this topic so well. Now, the Robert character was with Nancy for so many years, 5 years, they're never going to get married. It's just stringing along. He also has his hung up on his ex-wife for leaving. Regardless of that, you got a couple of couples. With this rising action, the antagonist is taken advantage of the mental health of someone else. So the antagonist, as I previously mentioned, doesn't have redeemable qualities. Now, with Nathaniel, he has his moments.
She's the evil hag, sire! You did this? She sent the girl here! She poisoned her! With my help, I regret to say.
He has redeemed himself from his past sin because of what he was doing for the Queen.
Don't you think that's a bit melodramatic, dear?
I don't know what melodramatic means.
It's not working!
You'll never save her now. When the clock strikes 12, she'll be dead.
It couldn't be me. Don't you
I
see?
barely know her. I've only known her for a few days.
It has to be.
It's so, Robert. It's okay.
Don't leave me.
Number 1, Happily Ever After. The character developed through the story in a more realistic way to unrealistic circumstances from prior life to a new life. I like how it wrapped up showing how other characters were moving on.
They still do.
It's a perfect fit.
With the characterization, I found this particular story, I rate it 9 out of 10 as far as characterization goes. In some aspects, I have learnt a lot from breaking this story down to learn other ways on how you would write certain characters. Now, with all said, that's it for today. Hit like, subscribe, comment. Next week I'll be uploading a video about Joker. But that's another story and shall be told next week.